Hey everyone, welcome back to Ghostlights podcast. My name's Mike. Before we jump in, this is what we're all about. When the theater goes dark, one light stays on. They call it the ghost light, a single bulb glowing center stage for safety, for superstition, for stories that refuse to leave. We grew up under those lights, a tiny prairie town where a handful of misfit theater kids somehow created something bigger than ourselves. I'd like to introduce you to our panel of individuals, of people who made it all happen. So I'm Mike. You'll recognize Cindy and Mark from our past episode. I'd like to introduce Darcey, joining us for our third episode of our first series. We are grateful to have you with us, Darcey. We're so excited to have you join in on our chat.
I'm happy to be here. I've watched the previous episodes and relived a lot of the stuff you're talking about. So yeah, I'm keen.
It's really fun to be able to get this. Yeah, it's really fun to get everyone's take on our stories, because even between Mark and Cindy and myself, when we share these experiences, sometimes we don't always see it we're seeing it from different angles. So the more, the more angles we get, the better picture we create. So Darcey, how did you get roped into this? Who twisted your arm? Who said,
well,
hey, we've got something?
How far back do you want to go?
The very beginning. Let's start from the very beginning. I do it.
It's a very good place to. The beginning, actually, I don't know if anybody in the panel knows the beginning, but when I was going to tech school for instrumentation, I had three buddies from Oyen that were another small town that were actually in the theater tech program at RDC, Red Deer College. And I would regularly visit them and go to their shows, and I had trouble leaving because the after party with the actors. I had a buddy that was an actor, and he was an improvist for years and years in Edmonton, and also contributor to the Fringe and all kinds of stuff. But he was going to school there in the acting program a year ahead of my other buddy, best man at my wedding, actually, that was in the tech program for sets design. And his girlfriend, our maid of honor, girlfriend at the time, maid of honor at my wedding, was actually in costuming. And so I went and hung out with those guys. I'm in a tech program, highly technical, intense, high responsibility program. And I went and hung out with these guys, and I felt like I was at home, right? And I was just like, what am I doing with my life? Am I in the wrong place? And so then, they went through and graduated, and I went through and graduated, and we all, went our different ways and everything. But that was always with me, that did I do the wrong thing? So then, fast forward to my life in Vermilion, and I knew Cindy and I knew Mark from other circumstances, and Cindy, approached me and said, "Well, we need an adult voice for a show I'm doing, and you have a voice." And I was like, "Yeah, I do. Yes, I have a voice."
This is true.
and I use it probably more than people like. So I said, "Oh, okay." I'm trepidant, of course, because it was new and everything, and it was really like a cold thing. Like she just walked up to me and started talking to me and stuff. Not that I didn't know her, but I was like, and I was like, okay, well, I'll try it, right? And it makes me think of that, Mike, you're talking about the first time that you went and you were riding home in the dark and everything, but it was like you were, you were where you were supposed to be, right? And I mean, I felt that pretty much right from the start, right? And like I said, I don't think she knew, and I don't think anybody knew where I was coming from in my past, right? But I walked into it and it was just like, oh, yeah, I am supposed to be here. So then I never left, I guess.
You never left. And the first one was Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah, and I was brother 11.
Were you brother 11?
I think so. Started with an N.
What was your name? Do you remember your name?
Started with an N. Mark?
Okay, well, we'll look that up.
We'll circle back to that.
The only brother that ever mattered to Jacob was Joseph. So I mean,
Yeah, I was brother 11.
I'm sure he just numbered the rest off. Number 11.
Yeah.
Naphtali, I think.
That actually very well could have been. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that Joseph was the first one that you're in.
No, stop, Mike.
Well, but it got me hooked. So
That's
you know, I mean, but there was choreo, which you know, everything has to have a downside, otherwise it'd be perfect, right? So.
yes, that's true. That is very true.
Our choreographer at that time was, I remember, she always was, and all through all the years was incredibly patient with everyone.
yeah, with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, Darcey? The 5-year-olds are getting this. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Darcey and I were in the remedial class, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, Darcey and Mark, we'll deal with you later.
Yeah. You stay later after class. We'll see what we can do. Okay.
Exactly.
That's too funny.
Yeah. And okay. And further before that, my mom was an artist, and a painter and a sculptor, but a very minimal sculptor. I only think I've ever seen one of her sculptures. My dad was a very practical man, a mechanic, and a partsman, and he has a very mechanical mind. So I'm a Gemini. So I have my mother's creative and artistic side, and my dad's ability to take anything apart and put it back together. And those war with me constantly within me. And it's part of what made me useful, I guess.
I was going to say, just to interject there, is I'm trying to remember, did we force you into, because I remember that was our first time in the armories and we had to build our own stage. And I know we had one of the fathers involved and it was previously built, but we didn't know how to put it together. Did we ask you to help you with that? Or did we start using you for our entire large props later?
I think there were men walking around with tools, and men started showing up. I think is how that worked. I did end up helping. I believe I was there. I laid a bunch of sheets on top of the stage and stuff. But I don't think I was involved a lot in the background in that production. I don't think so. I think it was later. Where you would come to me and be like, I wish we had this. And I would be like, okay. I'll see if I can make that. And yeah. And now we need this. And then we'd like that. And then if you have time, could we have several of these? Yeah.
Well, and I think Mike had brought up last time when he was speaking to Mark, and with myself and with him, was that we all wore so many hats. Right? We were only, just like so many things behind the stage. I was thinking the other day, actually, I was talking to somebody at work. I don't know what the context was, but just saying, like, trying to balance all the things is like you've got an 8-year-old at your shirt saying, I don't have a lunch. What am I gonna do? I don't have lunch. Person from lighting, probably a relative of yours, Darcy, would say the lighting isn't working on such a spot all at the same time. And
Hey, and you
that
want to talk about somebody that's like my father? That guy. That guy's
so,
like my dad. You know?
somebody came, one of the other, like one of you guys or one of the other gals, like adult gals, came to the little girl and said, come sit with me and I'll share my lunch. So just that whole idea of us all wearing so many hats, um, I think it started to like blend together that that was it. Like all the adults like did form a group that if one had to take off one hat and put in another one, someone would take their hat. Would
Yeah,
be the
and I
best
mean,
way.
sometimes you'd leap into the hat, and sometimes the hat would be handed to you. But not leap into, but I mean, you'd understand that no one was wearing a hat at the time, and we needed that hat, so you would put it on for a little while, and then keep an eye out for someone else that wasn't wearing a hat that could use one, you know. But yeah, and I mean that gets back to the family thing that Mike was talking about in one of the previous episodes too. Is that that's what families do, right? Like you have to get to whatever success as a family or whatever your goal is. So everybody as a family pitches in, right? I mean that's how the whole thing worked, and I mean speaking to the selfless nature of it and stuff, if everyone's working for a goal, you're a bunch of cogs in the machine, right? Which I think Mark and I have used that analogy more than once, actually, if I recall,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
in discussion. But yeah, no, and that was the way it ended up being, right? Because we had bigger productions, we had more kids, we had more adults, right? Because I think Joseph was the first time that you brought more adults into the production, right? And
Well, Fiddler on the Roof was the first one.
oh right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like I would said I saw Fiddler, but I wasn't part of it. So and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was amazing. And I actually, funny thing, I hadn't had any experience with Fiddler after, and then I watched it on a movie on TV, and I was like, oh, we did. I said we, but I wasn't part of it. We did a pretty good job, actually.
Fiddler was such a kind of a. It was really. It was strange in the fact that it was something that we hadn't done before with having that adult cast and that junior cast at the same time. So I don't know, Mark or Cindy, if you can talk to it, but like going into that, were you anticipating were you worried about the transition? Because traditionally we've always been this theater group for youth, for kids, right? Started with young cast, but then by the time we got to Fiddler on the Roof, that's when we started implementing or seeking out that adult cast. Was there that much of a transition, or was there catchback or backlash at all?
Well, I'm first, Mark, and then I'll add to it.
Yeah, I didn't myself see it as too much of a shift because I think at that time, and Cindy can correct me if I'm wrong, but there were credits for school too that could be received during that production, like for what was called special projects. And for me, I found myself doing a lot of stuff for the special projects with sound, and with starting very slowly into lighting. And that was a lot of fun because I think I really cut my teeth in lighting with the young people around the time of when in Rome, to be sure, but certainly with Fiddler on the Roof. And so that transition for me with dealing with the folks in special projects particularly was a nice way to have young people come in and feel at the same time that it was a fairly seamless interaction between adults and young people.
Well, I think what I'll add to that is that, like anything else with theater, is that it started one way and it always evolved and changed along the way. And I think until close to the end, um, everything that we added to it improved the whole situation. Like I have, I have full confidence to say that I have absolutely no regrets involving the adults that I had with the youth. It was like the only time it wasn't positive. Again, I can't, we can't do anything about it. But some adults didn't understand, as we said before, what it was all about, and they didn't understand that it was only like for the youth. You as an adult were there. Yes, you got stuff out of it out, yourself, but it was generally um, feeling good because you're seeing what's happening with the youth that you're working with. But if you do have an adult, and I did have those circumstances that didn't, they only wanted it to be for themselves. They couldn't understand the project. So I like kind of had no choice but not to invite them back at times, just because um, it disrupted the flow that we were trying to achieve at the end, is that it's for the youth, and we wanted to have that protected environment, that safe environment.
I
So
want to touch on that and something, Darcy, you had mentioned, and I had mentioned as well, that family vibe that we created. A lot of the adults that got in those middle years, I guess I don't know what to call them, but we did see those roles, and I mean, I'm I'm much younger than everyone else here, so I can. But even so, by the time feather in my
Yes,
cap,
yes, you are.
I'm not coming on 40 at all. However, at the same time, I looked at this and end up being graduating high school by the time that we did Fiddler on the Roof. So getting into life and changes and adulthood and all that, and being a co-director and having sometimes even having my own family, nephews, my sister, other people that are in the show.
I,
There are times where I can remember some of the new younger cast coming in and parents looking around in the auditorium or wherever we are and making a comment to me saying like, "Oh, I'm really relieved that you guys are here. I know my kids are in safe hands." And at the time I was kind of, well, yeah, clearly, like,
Duh.
we don't bite. But now being a parent, now having kids of my own, and being in that mindset, saying like, thinking, wow, we really did have that safe environment from day one. Like, and I think that's something that Cindy, you were striving for, is that this isn't a competitive, cutthroat industry. This is a place to be able to be safe, to be vulnerable, and the adults that came and stayed, I can, I, I'm gonna speak for all of you, anyways. We all made sure that it's like, hey, this is, you are in good hands. You are okay. We are gonna look after you. We're gonna make sure you're fed. We're gonna make sure that you get home. We're gonna make sure that we get you out of the back locked storage closet of the theater, and we're not going to let you be locked in the storage closet for more than half hour. Like it's we did definitely stepped in and created that supervisory parental vibe that I think a lot of parents did appreciate, to know, oh yeah, there's good people there. And you can't say that about a lot of thespians, but
I mean, I guess one thing about Fiddler on the Roof is something of a watershed, at least for me, was some of you may know that I first of all have long loved Fiddler on the Roof from early. It's actually my first memory of going to a film with my parents was when Fiddler first came out in '71, and
we're different people, Mark. Mine was Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Well, you know, it's often it's just circumstance, but I do feel that if every musical on the planet were to die, except Fiddler on the Roof, we would still be just fine, because it is just such a strong musical.
and if we can pick musicals to kill first, can I choose
No.
Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat? You're first to go.
Well, let me think about that, Mike. Yes.
Sorry, Donny Osmond. I'm sorry.
But take him out too.
What?
Oh, sorry.
But what was a great thing with Fiddler on the Roof is that because, and we alluded to this last time, I think, it's so rich as subject matter and so important as subject matter. And we have young people who are school age, and it was the ideal opportunity to have them feel safe, and in the midst of feeling safe, be able to really learn something at the same time and be involved and interactive. I loved teaching them rudimentary Hebrew that they could put on the gravestones. Right, that was a gas. I loved that. It just really. For me, that was like a really great moment from which, as adults, we're interacting with the young people in the context of the theater. I felt that was a great beginning, anyway.
And I'll never forget.
Not just goofing around, also education.
Yes, that's right.
But even like you mentioned, like Mark, the gravity of that production. Like I'll never forget our closing number when we're all leaving Anatevka, right? We're leaving and we're walking up the steps of the theater, and we're going out the back doors, and we're leaving the theater empty. Like we rehearsed it several times, so the just the greatness of what that final scene was, kind of, not that it got lost in meaning for us, but because we ran it, we're like, don't trip. Like get up those stairs. Yes. Don't run into the railing. Don't fall. Like so we're going up those steps, and once you get out, you're like, yeah, we did it. But I'm now as like, if I were to have been sitting in that audience and having that empty auditorium at the end of the show, like that's impactful. And I don't think we've ever done anything like that, other than Audrey 2 coming out into the audience and trying to eat people up. But like,
we did some others, but that's but yeah. So I like just moving forward, because I mean, the four of us would talk like all day and all night, just about like, just because that's the way we are. I remember times with Mr. Schroeder and Sander, both. It's like the end of rehearsal, and I'm like have to lock up like studio or whatever rehearsal space we're at, and they're still talking.
That's right.
Look, you guys have to go home.
I can picture it right now. We're all at the bottom, at the front of the stage. And Cindy's standing up at the door, be like, "Let's go! Get out of here! We need to lock up." And we're like, "Oh yeah." And then we talk for another 10 minutes, and you're like stomping your foot, like, "We have places to go. I'm hungry." I'm like,
I don't.
yeah.
No. Eh?
Yeah. So that being said, um, so like our goal, and maybe we're putting Darcey on the spot once again, but he's kind of used to that with me. But like our goal with this podcast was obviously to reach other people and have them like experience our experiences, and just understand what it was like in a small rural town, understand like what theater meant to us, but also just to have it therapeutic for ourselves. Because you go back and take a look, it's like I started the prep work for it in 1998, which is about the time when Mark Out to Vermilion, if I
Yeah,
have that
yeah,
correct.
that's right.
Um, so all of those years of your life that you've been part of your life, you want to go back and like celebrate them. So the point matters however long this takes, to just go through that. Great to have an audience, which we really do want to have at some point. It's so far it's been so beneficial for me, like emotionally, just and to say, hey, let's
Oh,
celebrate those, kind of going back there and feeling that security again. So so put it in your spot, Darcey. You're stuck in the group now. um we have some other guests lined up,
mm-hmm.
um but we're hoping you'll be a solid
Oh,
member of this
I see.
group. Yeah, once again.
Remember how that works, Darcey?
I do. Yeah.
Come
Make
on,
me
little boy.
make me
One of us.
make me
One
feel
of
one
us.
of us. One of us. Yeah. Make me feel useful, and then I'll just follow you around and see what you need. Yeah.
It's the curse of competence.
I've suffered my whole life with that. I've tried to hide it. Lots of people have missed it, but not you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's it, isn't it? I mean, when you take a look at your beginnings, and each of us like have gone back and taken a look at where we started, and why I thought it was important in the first place to have it. Like each step along the way, we learned more and we added more. And um, Darcey, your job as eventually ended up being basically that I would say, okay, I need such and such, and I need it to look like this and work like this. I have no picture. I have no blueprints. I have no money. I don't have anything. Are you,
Are
and
you
Darcey,
magic?
yeah, and he was magical. Um, and we can't read the sign, Darcey. What does it
Uh,
say?
it doesn't say anything. It's the stage in Sweeney Todd.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, so I wasn't in Sweeney Todd. I did come to see it, but I have to say, Darcey, that set you built with the trap door, the slide, everything, I have never in our whole like career, our whole legacy of Vermilion Theatre Productions, I've never seen anything that good on stage. Like, there have been incredible artists that have created beautiful pieces. There's been like really great sets like Wizard of Oz with the rainbow with the painting on the floor, which I still don't know how you're able to convince the college to let us paint the floor of the college. Like, that's crazy.
Didn't paint the floor. We in always in productions, what we would have to do, because we were not allowed to paint the floor, we would have to get a big sheet of paper, and at different times, Darcey would have to bring a great big sheet of plywood or whatever to put the set upon. So no, it was like a no. So we were able to like create that illusion
Oh,
Because
in
no,
that case, we used the interlocking sheets from the
That's
top of the
it.
stage, from the top of the
Why
portable
did it-
stage.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
yeah.
And then painted them amazingly. Yeah.
So
Sorry, I do remember I mean, I think I was around watching you build that set for Sweeney Todd. But I have to say, when it came onto the stage, and I sat in where the audience sits and just looked at it, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing.
And I built this beautiful thing. It had a trap door. It had a ramp. It had all this stuff. And my directrix walked over to me and she said, "It's 1.5 feet too tall." And I turned and I looked at her. And now building this set took me like a week. This took me a week to build. Everything to build the set was in my Quonset, right? Would you believe it? Everything to build the set, all the wood, I had architectural beams that we ended up suspending on supports and everything. Everything was in my Quonset. It took me a week to build it. I lost 20 pounds. 20 pounds I lost. I didn't eat. I was just going, right? We set it up on the stage. And I think actually she might have prefaced it with, "It's amazing. We need it 1.5 feet shorter." And I believe my reaction was, okay.
I think that was often your reaction. You had incredible patience for moments like that where the crushing load of reality brought its full weight upon your creations.
Yeah.
Was it the lights? Like, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was.
If you were off stage. If you were on the top of it, you were like, your head was off stage or whatever.
Like
the
you couldn't,
audience couldn't see you. Yeah. And then so I just cut like a 1.5 feet off of everything, put it back together again. We made the ramp slightly less steep because it had longer to run or less distance, whatever. That was all, and then somebody said, "Well, aren't the kids going to fall off the top of it?" And I turned and looked at it and went, yes, they are. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. No, they were supposed to fall through the middle of it, not off the top. So then I had to put a railing on it, which I had all the material for in my Quonset.
Unreal.
And I put everything I had into that set actually, and we actually saw Sweeney Todd on Broadway here a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And walking out of the theater, I believe walking out of the theater, I sent a text to Cindy saying, if I had their budget, I could have built this set.
Yeah.
But that's the other side of the street, Darcey. Like, you had that full-time job. There's no way around it. Like, what you did was so time-consuming. But what I don't think people realize is that you were also performing at the same time. Like, you and I were on stage several times. Like, so not only I can't even imagine where your mind's at, because I know you're thinking like, okay, is everything going to work according? Is this working? Does this look? Is this going to work for the people? Do I need to make changes? But then we're on stage in full costume doing choreography, which we had no right doing.
Yeah. No.
And so it's like that. There goes the double hats again. Like, oh yeah, I'm
the cowardly lion checking the trap door.
Designer. But I'm now also I'm also the cowardly lion, and so it's funny how yes, we have many different roles, but sometimes it's at the same time. Like, did you have to like compartmentalize and say, okay, whatever happens, like I'm in actor mode right now? Or are you often like, oh shoot, I gotta move this a little bit, or like, oh, like I know that like so having done a lot of like music direction for the younger groups and stuff, I even if I'm on stage, I'm just trying to be in character, but I'm also being like, you guys missed your cue. What's going on? Like, so like, was the juggle bearable? Did Cindy
I
run
lived
us ragged?
through it. I lived through it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it was a lot, for sure, because like you said, I'm building sets, I'm practicing for my role, and sometimes learning choreography and a song or two, and then there's all these little children running around that want to jump off things and find out how it works and if they can get caught in it or not, right?
That's right.
And so a lot of times, like I had to use my dad voice. Get away from that; it'll kill you. And except on stage, then you have to work with it. And you'd
Let it kill you.
Yeah. Then it has to kill you. Make it look
Then
good.
it can kill you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then which I mean, like I loved working with the kids, and they were so enthusiastic, right? And even like in the later shows, I had kids that wanted to contribute to props and to sets and to stuff like that, which was like really cool, right? Because any opportunity you have to teach a young person something, is just gold, right? Like it's an investment in everything. So yeah, but literally numerous times I would be performing on stage, turn around, walk through the curtains, put the next prop in the place that it had to be, hand someone a tissue because they're crying because they forgot a word in their song. And then I was lifting something or putting something. Oh, I was putting something back together, right? Screwing it back together because it didn't kill him, but it almost killed him. And then I turn around and do my next song with Mark. So yeah, and in the moment, I may have slightly complained. But looking back, some of the best times of my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's funny. It's funny, Darcy, you say it because this memory is about Mark, but I can remember standing at the foot of the stage with Cindy, and I think I forget what show. I want to say it must have been it must have been Fiddler on the Roof. I think it was. And I can remember standing there, and we were about to run a scene, and Cindy's like, "Where's Mark? Where's Mark?" And I like turn around and I look up in the sound booth, and Mark, you're up there helping the guys up there, and I'm like, "Cindy, Mark's in the sound booth," and you're like, "Can someone get Mark out of the sound booth? What is he doing in there?" And I remember you popping your head out of the little window there, Mark. And you're like, "I'm doing my job, Cindy." And being like, I'm like, what do you want from us, Cindy?
All things.
Why is it not enough? Why is it not enough?
That's where I lost 20 pounds, was running from the booth down the stairs to the stage, and then running back up the stairs to the sound booth.
How many times you go up and you're doing like if I were a rich man, right? So you come running down these stairs, and by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, those stairs are like hazardous. Like
they are.
They're not equal. Like,
they have a strange pitch. Yes,
and they're on angles and stuff. Like they're not great.
And then a landing here, and then kind of, but not even. There was like 12 stairs to this landing, and then 8 to the next. And it was like,
yeah, you can never get the feel for it. Like, no, maybe you did, Mark, with the number of times you had to run those stairs. But like, you run down 3 steps, and then you like stumble on like on the plateau, and then you like throw yourself down another 3 stairs, but you'd be down on stage, do the number, and then watch you step by step, grudgingly all the way back up to the sound booth. And Cindy's like, where are you going? We're going to run it again. And you're like, turn around, back down.
Okay.
Oh,
No problem with any of you saying this because I know it's true. And I know people, when eventually when we get an audience, they're going to think, what a horrible person she was. But I have to tell my side of the story. Like, I probably had 8 of my own crises as well at the same time.
At all times.
Right. So that was the beauty of the relationship that I had with the parents. The adults that I was working with, very few of them actually were parents. Like maybe in the beginning and like sometimes throughout, there was parents involved with helping with things. That's, not true. But like the main people that were doing like the majority of like the whole picture, you guys knew that if I was a bitch during that time, that's just the way it was, right? I mean, I know there was the odd time that there was a lot of like swear words under your breath about
no, no.
the approach. I mean, it ended up being like, intensive week was intensive week, and that word is perfect.
That's what I was gonna, and I think after you do your first intensive week with whatever show it is, and you're gearing up next year for your next show, there's that build up of like, okay, I gotta prepare myself. I can't throw hands this week. I gotta bite my tongue. Like, keep Cindy in the corner of my eye so I can keep
and physically prepared.
20 feet from her at all time in case I need to run for it. Like,
Must be mature. Must be mature.
Yeah.
Think mature. Be mature.
I'm the grown up. But
here's the thing. Even though we're uncovering some of the more rough edges of the process, we always came back. Like,
She was a cruel woman, but fair.
and so like
back, and everybody had this idea of, and like everyone, adult and children, always had the blues. Like, remember the blues? Like when a show was over, curtain was over, everyone had like the goodbyes and the hugs and whatever backstage, and then myself and the other person that was helping me with costumes and cleanup knew we were going to be there for another 4 or 5 hours, like, and that involved all of us, like tearing down sets, cleaning up, costumes room, the green room, whatever. But there was like an emotional like drop, right? And that for the kids as well. Like everyone is like, because you have that like build up and the high and then the emotional.
Yeah. But it is the mountaintop experience psychology completely. It is.
Mm-hmm.
You build up to it. Yeah.
The lack of
and then
sleep.
afterwards it's like, the fear, the lack of sleep, yes.
I can't speak for you guys on this one, but at least I can speak for you for a lot of, but just kidding. But for this one, I think we all processed it differently. We all had the post-show blues. But I won't get into the nitty-gritty of it because I experienced it myself and everyone else goes it. But I think all of us processed it differently. Like we all look at it and be like, oh man, like it was so much investment of our time and our life and our energy, and then people would always come to me and say like, oh, aren't you relieved that's over? And I'd be like, no, like, I'm not happy that it's over. Honestly, I'd like to do another 5 shows. And and so like that, all that work, all that time, all that energy, and being a school drama director right now, like my students go through it and I can relate to be like, oh, like, they're like, why do we only get to do 2 shows? I'm like, well, at least you got to do 2 shows. Right? Right? And
now eat your vegetables.
Yeah.
Be grateful.
But there's often when you're on that high, like, and that's the only way I can explain it is when you finish the show, you're on that high, you have that audience applause. We for somehow out of nowhere was able to pull off something that 12 hours ago we weren't even confident we would be able to put on stage, and now we've finished it, and Mike just lost his voice just in time for the closing number. It it was it was so interesting to be okay. Well, what's next? Like my students do that to me all the time before we even put down the stage. They're like, "So what do you think we're gonna do next year? What are we gonna do next year?" Like, and I'm like, can I go to sleep for a week, please?
Wait a minute. Yeah, there's a next
But
year.
I think that's the reality that anyone that's been in our shoes knows that there is a bit of a mindset and I don't even know how to explain it. Like there's a bit of a shift in the matrix.
Yeah.
Just to change things up a little bit. I know everybody's going to have a different opinion about this, but um, when we talk about the challenges of being in a small town, trying to do what we're doing, um, I'd like to hear everybody's perspective of that, because I know that Mike and I have spoke to that a little bit, but I'd like to hear everybody's perspective because, like, the whole idea behind this, with the ghost light being the one light on, I see that on so many ways, like a spiritual way, and a fact that we're still here, we've still got our light on, and we're still, we're our beacon of light is still coming out, even if it's in a different way now. But we did want to address, like, the challenges of doing something in a small rural town. So does everybody want to speak to that? Don't speak all at once.
I just,
Where to begin?
where do you start? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think as a small town production, we talked about that a little bit before about budget, right? And I know when it got later in, and you came and said, well, I need this and I need this and I need this, and it has to be amazing. And I said, okay, what's my budget? And you would say, well, what have you got laying around? and I'd say, well, let me have a look. And that's how it largely went. And like, so we did amazing things with nothing. Like, and I mean, we leaned on theater of the mind a lot, and like we gave, small, I don't know, boosts, cattle prods, whatever, to the imagination to try and lead the audience by the nose that, hey, this is an insane asylum. It may look like two pieces of scaffolding, but there's some crazy people on that stuff. Trust me.
Actually, I was talking about that a little while ago with Cindy, and the I thought that was really effective. It struck me as something that, a really avant-garde off-Broadway version of Sweeney Todd would try, right? Get scaffolding, make it the asylum, right?
Well, and people in boxes was very disco, right? Like it was, yeah. It was, you get the fog rolling through, and the people in boxes dancing. Yeah, no, and it, like, and minimalistic, I think is is another. Just relying on the audience to be in the production with you, and I mean, we succeeded numerous times that way. Like our audience followed us along, I thought, really well. In every production, like they were there for, all the heartbreak and all the joy. And we had lots of like very dedicated audience as well. People that came to every show that
Right.
and were keen for the next one.
Just piggyback on that. just as far as like small town, is we never got the audiences that we deserved. With the, I mean, just that's the reality. I mean, it was a community that, the end of the day, and Mike and I spoke about that at the beginning, were more important. There was a small town mentality. Things were more conservative, and a lot of people didn't understand the world itself. And it's like, oh, thinking it's just, oh, it's like a kid's recital, or, like just not understanding. So we did have our dedicated people, obviously parents that whose kids were in the productions, but yeah, we did have dedicated people that said, yeah, no, I want to see the show and I'm excited about it. But we should have, hands down, we should have had our for each show, it should have been full for
Mhm.
what we were offering to people in a small town, because they wouldn't get to see that show unless they drove to the city, maybe, to have an opportunity to see some of those shows. And as a small town, like that was, and maybe this type of town, um, just prevented that. And so there was times that was a big disappointment. It's like, is why is this not packed? Like,
You
when
wanna
when are
you
you?
wanna do your production on Friday? That's the same day as the pierogi supper.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my
Are you crazy?
god. What?
No, the minimalist thing was something that I remember us concentrating a lot on projections. Uh, maybe somewhat more earlier on, before we had the benefit of Darcey's architectural and technical skills, because we had to find some way to have an efficient way to go from scene to scene. And with a lot of kids, particularly in shows where we had tons and tons of young people, you wanted to have relative freedom from scene to scene. And so having projected scenes as much as possible was a big help. And I've noticed that since, the big time companies are doing that more and more now. They're using projections to maximize
we invent,
what the scenery looks like.
we invented it and they stole our idea.
So, I kind of going back to what we were talking about with like having very little but making the most of it. That's so ingrained in me, like to a place where I have there are people, parents, students that I have who get after me because I have such a minimalistic approach to settings and props and sets and stuff, because not that we were minimalists in the fact like we created incredible things, but for I look and I say, yes, a set can be incredible, but I want my kids to be incredible. I want their performances to be incredible, and which kind of goes into another point of what I think we'll talk about right away with you too, Darcey. But with costuming, but the for me, I look at them and I say, I don't need to recreate this French little village with a well and that. Like I can make that happen. The magic's in the music. The magic's in the performance. The magic is in the people, the individuals. And so we have in my school we have this big screen on our wall, and so I make slides. I create images that way. But my stage is black. My curtains are black. I've got steps that lead up to a black stage. We have very few props and sets and stuff on the stage because there's not a lot of space,
Yeah.
and I don't care. I shouldn't say that. It's not that I don't care, but I'd rather have the kids be showcased, and all the bells and whistles that go along with it need to support them and encourage them, right? So when it comes to like the obstacles of being in a small town, we did incredible things, but I think it also comes to the mindset that we did things that not only are incredible to us, but was misunderstood because it wasn't the status quo, right? That societal expectation of like me play hockey, like me push over friend, me pick up friend and punch in face, me and friend now are best friends again. Like that whole hockey mindset,
Me
the
cut
small
laps
town,
incessantly.
like and which was kind of I think why I found my place and why in the past episodes I talk about I needed this so badly because I wasn't the guy out in the school parking lot taking a look at other people's trucks. I said, does it start? Does it run? Great, get me to practice. Get me to rehearsal. Like I wasn't the truck guy. It wasn't the person being like, oh, I can't wait for football season to start. Like and I think that was just my mindset. That wasn't who I was, but it was expected of me. It was expected of well, you need to do this. I'll never forget. And this is kind of a random tangent story. I think I probably told Cindy this before, but I remember being in high school, and I was involved in yearbook. I was involved in student leadership. I was the student union president. I was part of lots of organizations, and I played some sports in junior high. But in high school, I was band, I was music, I was drama, I was Vermilion Theater Productions. I was the arts guy. I was the humanities guy. But I got cornered at the entrance of my school by some teacher. I don't even know who he is. He wasn't from our school. And he saw me and he like made a beeline to me. And he had me like pinned up, basically up against the art display cabinet. And he was drilling me, being like, are you playing football? Are you going to be part of the football team? Are you going to join football? You need to play. And I'm not exaggerating. I couldn't even get a word in because he's like, you're going to play football, right? You're going to play football? Have you tried out for the football team? Do they know that you're going to be playing football? What position do you play? Do you not play football? And like, just like that. And I was kind of like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, no. And he goes, what do you mean no? Of course you play football. He's like, you must have been playing football this time. Like, what do you mean you're not playing football? Is something wrong? Do you have an injury? Did you break something? Are you going to be out in the and just like it to me, it was so alarming and off-putting because I'm like, if it's just not who I am. Yeah. And luckily, there are some teachers that could see the situation that were my own, and they kind of quickly interceded and like pulled me out and like, oh hey Mike, we need you to come with us, and like very like robotically been like, oh, we've been looking for you, let us get you to
safety
A to B.
Was
like,
the bad man berating you?
Yeah, and they kind of said like, oh, we're sorry to interrupt this really important conversation that you're having. But they knew me, and they're like, oh, that's not his thing. But could you imagine if that was us? Could you imagine if like we saw someone and said like, oh, do you want to be on stage? You look like you'd be a performer. Looks like you could be a good dancer. Do you like dancing? How do you like dancing? Do you like singing? Are you a good singer? Do you want to sing? Do you want to be on stage? You want to sing this song? We have a really good song. I think you'd be a really good one. Do you like this part? You look like you'd be a really good part. Like, if we were to do that to people, people would be up in arms, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Like, they would be like, get away from my child. I'm calling the police. But I think about that
more
too,
so.
is that I feel like we often had to make compromises. We had to make allowances because we were working against I don't want to say community, but we're working against a mindset, the little bubble world of this is what is normal. You're not part of that bubble. That's not that.
I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, and I just this is a question for everybody, just as a bit of a thought experiment. If we were to go back, say, 90 years or 80 years to Vermilion, and there would have been a theater company for young people then, and we were essentially doing the same sorts of things then, before the advent of television in every room and just the industrialization of the entertainment industry as it's come to be, everywhere. It's ubiquitous. Would we have been better understood and respected if it had been before, the age of...
Well, I would say so, because when we look back at Shakespeare's time, that was the most important thing. They didn't have anything else, right? I mean, you went to see the Shakespeare, everyone did, right? They didn't even have chairs, right? I mean,
You stood.
like you stood up, and like it was packed, and that was how everyone communicated and got stories across, right? Um, but 90 years though would put us at what now?
It's the
Um,
30s, actually.
the
Yeah.
30. So
The
yeah,
in
and
between time.
The in-between time.
I
Yes.
I blame
the arts on.
I blame the government, Cindy. We need to blame the government. Because if governments would have went around to every small town and built an auditorium with a stage and lights and a working, instead of building arenas and hockey rinks in every single small town across Canada, because if they would have had the right person to say, oh, the arts creates personality, the arts create philosophers, thinkers, people that are going to change the future. If they would have had someone say, we need to build stages in every single small town across Canada, instead of that we need to build hockey rinks because kids need something to do. They need that physical activity, which of course kids do. But I don't think people understand how physical theater can be.
Or at the very least have a multi-purpose community complex where you have, I mean, like Manville's got that. They've got the hockey rink, they've got curling, they've got a big hall and with a stage, and so there is that opportunity to in theory
I
to find balance.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to interrupt though, because that's they might have had a stage, but the purpose of that was not for art. It was for weddings and people renting the halls for those kinds of things. I think Mike's right. The mindset was not, oh, let's have this here for the arts. Like there might have been like I mean, again, like here we're talking about things like with Manville, and when we were working with Mappus. I mean, is that where they did their shows?
Well, no, they did it
Like,
the old school, didn't they?
So
no,
I mean
where they did the shows.
that I think that's what we were working against, is the fact that we're in a society that, I'm not saying no one, we did, a lot of people value the arts, but it wasn't considered, like it wasn't part of our identity, right? Like it was, oh, that's a fun little thing, oh, that's interesting, I hope you guys are having fun with that. That,
It's
like,
nice to have a hobby that will lead you nowhere in life.
yeah. And but that also goes into education and the people valuing like we learn about Shakespeare in school, but what do students come away with Shakespeare? I don't get it.
He talks funny.
They're like, what just happened? That's not English. Or we watch these plays. We read Death of a Salesman for 500 years. We like we study it, but then we're like, oh, I'm done with that. I hate literacy. I hate reading. Me like hockey. Like,
Well, I had a teacher in grade 12 who made no bones about her hatred of Shakespeare. And she says, in grade 12, we're doing Macbeth. And the best thing about Macbeth is that it's short.
and that there are many like teachers, like English teachers, that have that sentiment. They agree. They're like, I don't want to teach this. But do you know why we still teach it? Because the government sat down and sent surveys out to parents saying, oh, what do you want your kid to be able to do and read and come away with from high school English with. And parents are like, well, if I have to read Shakespeare, my kids better have to read it too. I'm not kidding. I'm not lying. They're like, oh, well, yeah, we want our kids to read Hamlet. Of course we do.
Why not just suffer? They should suffer.
Like, I had to walk up school uphill both ways there and back.
3 miles.
Kids,
3 miles.
They're not going to understand what it's like to hate something until they have to do it too. So that's the reality. It's like, so I teach it. I taught Shakespeare this year, and I'm like, okay, new mindset. Throw everything you know out the window. We're gonna do things differently. Like, this isn't gonna be your mom and dad's Romeo and Juliet. We're gonna really like shake it up and do something new with it, because there's just so much negative connotation that goes with it. And so I think that's what our problem was with theater. There's so much negative like reality around it, where it's like, well, I don't get it. I don't like it. This isn't my thing. Well, if it makes you happy, oh, like, well, like, do I have to spend money to see this? Like that kind of the idea of there, it wasn't valued. There, people saw like, oh, that's nice, honey. That's sweet. Gold star. Like, back to your chores. Back to the farm.
That's a really good point. Like, we started out with our tickets being $10. And I don't know at that time how much it cost to go to a sports event. Like, but you know, and people were like, $10 to go see, like, I'm like, literally, it was like that. And then we went up to 15, and people are like, $15. I mean, this is like however many years later with inflation, and I mean, different standard of living, and like every year it was like, and I think the highest I ever went was 18. And I think that was for the adult shows, and I think for the when we did like Charlie Brown, Your Good Man Charlie Brown, and some of the ones that were just for the kids, I think we did those at 15. So, but even then, yeah, tons of complaints that people had to pay $15.
What is this money going to? What is my money covering?
What do you need all this money for? You're a bunch of volunteers.
Well, I think that there was a certain degree of vindication. I know, Darcey, you and I have talked about this in the past. The vindication of looking at the kinds of things that kids learn backstage with technical stuff, with, you know, assisting with the sets and stuff like that, and having, you know, I think about the folks who would have never been involved in the arts had it not been, and I've said this before on this broadcast, that they would have never been interested in the theater had it not been that they kind of fell in love with doing lights, or they fell in love with the background stuff, the offstage stuff that is as important many times. And that's at least a vindication that, okay, you know, whatever, the public don't get it, and I don't mean in a small way, in a big way, you know, they don't get it. But we were able to make sure that kids could at least get it, even if it's through a different method than what people would think, i.e. getting on stage.
Well, a lot of people too, though, like, and I think Mike mentioned it before, and I think Darcey can relate to this with even family members, is that were involved, that they would like start out backstage and they're like, hey, I could do that. I could be on stage. Like, so they like had a safe way to progress into being on stage, right? Because initially, you know, they're like, no, that's not for me. But then they were able to witness it, and they knew every word, they knew every song, they knew like their, you know, like, because they were involved in the whole process. And then I can cite like so many like situations where that happened, where those people ended up being on stage.
Yeah. I think one of the things is that we always, I guess, promoted was that you could have the best of both worlds. Like, you can be part of this, but you could also do the other things. Like, all of us do different things. Like we all have different skills, different abilities, different trades, different like abilities. We can live in several different spheres and then bring what we have and still be able to be artistic, to be creative, to act, to sing, to, and not in my case dance, but some people do. And like that whole, some people find it interesting to move their feet in an organized like pattern,
choreographed kind of way. Yeah.
We always allowed that to happen. We always said, "Oh, you want to be part of the sports team? Great." Like we always worked around it. But to this day, we've never been given the same
Oh no.
allowances. It's been
Right.
like, "Oh, I can't come to rehearsal because I've got this baseball game." Oh, sorry. I've had people tell me I have to move my Christmas concert because it's there's a practice, a hockey practice. I'm like, or you move the hockey practice and your kid does Christmas concert. Like,
I even had, and again, it goes back to the small rural town. I had, my lead for well, it was Wizard of Oz. And so Wednesday is our costume rehearsal, right? And it was like, oh, I can't come because, and it was the very first of whatever it is that time of year. Was it soccer? I
soccer.
think something. And it was the first one, even though they knew all along, right? But that and the parents took precedent, and I tried my best to say, like, how do we do this, a costume rehearsal, without the lead? And so we didn't have the lead for costume rehearsal, so we had to come, as we were told, this was more important. And the the young person didn't have a choice either, because it came from their coach, and it also came from their parent. So, and oh well, it's a team. Like, and again, like, you obviously have been on stage before or been involved in a project, because it's a big team where everybody, we need all the parts. We can't miss it. And obviously we can't miss our lead, for, but there's many times that was a compromise that we had to make.
Yeah. This is true.
But we made it, and I think it definitely blessed the lives of many kids to be able to say, "Hey, I get to do all the things we want to do." Like we made ourselves open, and I don't. You can't say that about a lot of other organizations, and is that fair? I don't think there's such thing as fairness. Like it's just it's it's kind of one of those impossible conundrums of like, hey, this is the reality of what it's like to be in this small town. Where I think I was talking to you, Cindy, recently about this too. Like, there are individuals that come from a music world or an artistic world, and they're teaching it or they're involved in it, and it encompasses everything about their life. And then when they come to a small town or they come into that bubble world to realize, oh, priorities are different here. Like things aren't the same here. Like there's this expectation to conform, and I think that was our fight. Our fight was to fight the conformity of like, no, we're not going to stand down. We are going to make concessions, but we are going to push our way, and we're going to do great things, whether you like it or not. You don't have to get it. It's not for you. Surprise.
Well,
When I went to the Citadel, because I I can't remember which production it was, but we were like, maybe it was Wizard of Oz, because we made that our 10th anniversary um, show. Um, but I had been involved with something with the Citadel, so I set up a meeting with like the board, and I asked them if they wanted to advertise in our brochure, and I told them like my whole story, and they're like, like, and how much will this cost? And I said, well, $50. And they're like, are you kidding? Like, of course we'll do that. And I think they gave us $100, but they put their show, like their season or whatever, and they just couldn't believe that I would be having to like deal with such a small budget. Like they couldn't like comprehend the kind of shows that we were doing, and our struggle that to get advertising to be something towards some kind of income to help cover expenses. That it was only $50, and what a great opportunity for people in a small town was that everybody that was on that Citadel board had to say. So I mean that says it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to take a bit of a tangent in the conversation, Darcey, you were also not only were you involved in sets and design, but you were our costumer. You were our costume person, and I had the privilege and opportunity of wearing one of your pieces. You're showing us
Being my victim.
We started. Yeah, you're showing us up on your shelf one of your pieces that you created as well. So beyond the set, you also made us look pretty darn good on stage too, with some prosthetic pieces and that too. Where did that come from? Where was that? What is Cindy saying? Jump, monkey, jump! Make me a mask.
Essentially, yes. Yeah. We need that. We'd like to turn Mike into a beast. Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Make it so.
But you had the skill set. You had the ability to do it.
Well, and if I didn't, I found it somewhere. Like, but I mean, I've surrounded myself with a lot of stuff to do things, except ambition usually, and Cindy was great for motivation. Yeah. We need this by now, and if you have a chance, build me a set as well.
I know you're busy, but let me just add 5 more things to that plate of yours.
Just add 5 more things. Yeah. But like the costuming I worked on with you is one of the ones that I'd done for somebody else. Quite often I would the mask I made for the Cowardly Lion, I made for myself, right? Working on you was keenly interesting, right? And I think if I wasn't stuck in the highly technical job I'm in, I might have gone that direction and been a creature creator, because it is just to go from. Oh, I sent you those pictures. Did you see those pictures, Mike?
I haven't had a chance.
No, to go from just a guy in a sweatshirt to the beast, right?
Yeah. I said
was just very interesting for me, and very uncomfortable for Mike.
Mike,
but
university story and the allergy.
Do you know that side? Do you know that part of the story, Darcey?
No. What about
you? Okay. So, just so reference, Darcey made me this incredible face piece when I played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. Absolutely incredible. It was so cool. But we did 2 nights of it in Did we do 2 in Kid Scotty?
No,
Oh no, we did 1 in Kid Scotty, 1 in Vermilion. And so, in order to keep this up to my face, we had to use spirit gum, and we put it on, and we would glue it to my face, and it stayed. Like I don't remember.
I think the second performance, it started to slip a little bit towards the end.
So,
I think possibly you thought you were dying, and were sweating a little bit.
So what happened was, so the first night we get it glued on, we take it off. Next night we glue it back on, we take it off, and then I'm going back to Edmonton because I'm taking. I was finishing up my degree. I had some spring courses I had to take to finish my degree, but I ended up, like, as I'm driving, and I was with my fiance at the time, and I kept, like, my face was just burning. And I was like, oh, this is, like, it must have been just from whatever. But then I would start, like, touching it, and it felt like I had scales. Like, it was hard. Like, my skin wasn't, like, soft. It was hard. And I was like, what's going on?
Well, talk about method acting, you know?
I was becoming the monster.
The
and
beast
then,
within.
But then it started burning, and it became red, and it became hard, like, almost like it became so hard. And I was like, oh no, what's going on? So I had to go to the hospital, and my fiance takes me to the hospital, my wife now, and the doctors see me. They're like, you're having a severe allergic reaction to spirit gum. I'm like, what? They're like, you can't do that again. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, how many times? I'm like, I did 2 nights of it. They're like, you put it back on? And I was like, yeah, I had to. They're like, your skin is so damaged, like it is like calcified, like it's hardened. Your skin, like, you're having a severe allergic reaction, like. And I was like, oh, of course I am. So I had to have ointments and allergies. And I called Cindy afterwards, like, you won't believe what's happening. And Cindy's like, you are lying. That is not true. Yeah.
But having laryngitis all the time.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm serious. I just left the hospital. The doctors told me, like, you have an allergy to spirit gum. Like, you can't, or latex or something. Like, you've got a severe allergy to it. And you're like, that's a lie. No, it's not happening. I'm like, do you want me to send you pictures? Do you want me to send you? The doctors are telling me so.
Isn't that the same thing, Mark, that happened in Wizard of Oz with what character was the Tin Man in the wheel?
Oh, Buddy Ebsen was supposed to be the Tin Man, and because of the makeup that they put on him, it had
lead
some,
in it or something.
It had lead in it, I think, and he got very, very sick. So then Jack Haley Jr. had to take it over.
But there was no regrets. I'm like, man, I looked good.
Yeah, my
body might have been rejecting it, but I don't care. I'm like, I'll never have this opportunity again.
I'm just thinking about the headlines, right? Beast kills actor on stage.
Yeah. So, and people are wondering, like, I'm having my big dramatic, like, my big solo song, and I'm on my knees, and I'm pleading to be loved, and really I'm just like, I'm literally dying. My face is on fire.
It all hurts.
To be fair, it didn't hurt during the shows at all.
It was just after.
It was after where I'm like, something I can't. This Botox is working really well.
Wasn't there something about? I'm sure you had.
He doesn't want to talk about the nails.
I'm not gonna say names because I try not to use names. But we have a really amazing makeup individual who had her arm behind her back, twisted, to do our makeup for years and years and years. She was invested for several reasons, but she's one of my favorite people. One of my favorite times about intensive week or dress rehearsals was getting to sit in her makeup chair and totally having, like, fights and arguments and, like, teasing her and harassing her and her being like, if I can say what I wanted to say to you, and like you're a little, just like that, the back and forth dynamic. But she got the last laugh 100%, because when I played the Beast, and I don't know whose idea it was, but I had these claws, these fingernails that were like pretty long. They were long. And I came home for the weekend for practice the week before we did our show. And I still had classes at university I was taking. And so someone's idea was, hey, let's get these fingernails glued onto Mike, but you can't take them off. So I'm like, oh, okay, that whatever, not a big deal. I go to a university with a lot of liberal-minded people. No one's gonna bat an eye. My instructors may be like, well, Mike, what's happening? What's going on? But I didn't even comprehend. I didn't even comprehend what this was actually going to be like. And so I get these nails on, and I'm driving my car like this, like trying to get back to the city, like, oh, that's a little bit uncomfortable. That's kind of weird. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, I came back on Friday, and I was in tears. I was like, get these things off my hands! I can't even dress myself. I can't do anything. I'm sitting in like Hub Mall at the University of Alberta trying to eat a Subway sandwich like this. Like,
but then Darcey came to the rescue and built you like gloves. So he came in and saved the day.
What?
No.
Did you?
No.
Yeah.
No, we glued them on the first production. He broke them off as soon as the production was over, and we glued them on the second production. The gloves I built were to go over the claws.
Yeah. No, those nails were on.
We didn't glue hair onto him. We glued them onto the gloves.
Oh,
So he had hairy paws and I painted all of those nails individually, and knowing that they were going to go on his fingers, and they glued them on, and he just was like, I can't do anything. I can't run my phone. I can't do anything. What if I have to go to the bathroom? Yeah.
And I did have to go to the bathroom. And trying to, like, there's times where I'm walking down to my classes and I got these fingernails trying to keep my pants held up because I can't tighten my belt because I'm gonna break a nail. And I'm threatened. And I'm threatened by our makeup person saying, you're not allowed to break a nail. You're not allowed to break a nail. You don't understand what went into these. I'm like, no, I do. So I'm there, like, literally walking with my nails above my head, being like, nobody touch me! Nobody touch me! Like, and all because someone decided I had to wear these nails for a week.
What a diva.
But didn't your fiance put you in your place and side with the makeup?
She's like, can you imagine? She's like, could you imagine what women do willingly all the time for the name Beauty is Pain? And I'm like, no, you guys need to cut this out. The nail industry needs to be demolished.
Stop.
Like
My personal crusade.
I'm like, how do you guys do anything with nails? And they're like, we adapt. We are the superior people, individuals. There's a reason why we suffer in silence. And I'm like, don't be silent. Be angry.
But
Stick it to the man.
isn't that like a perfect thing? If you'd wandered around in high school with that in small town Alberta, it was one thing to be at the they wandering around with, but if that was at the high school, yeah, I don't know what would have happened to you.
I would have solved the football problem.
Yeah. Sorry, sir. Just got my nails done. I guess you'll have to bring in the alternate. I'll cheer from the I'll cheer from the bench. Let's go.
Stop. There's just a ton of jokes coming to my head that I cannot say. Dude.
Yeah, me too. That's the best one I could come up with for the audience.
Good grief.
Keep everything PG, everybody. And yeah, so what's what's everybody's schedule like here? Mike, are you?
I have to head out right away.
Yeah, myself as well. This
Right?
has been brilliant again.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
So, like, what's
as we tarry here at the front door of cloud number 9,
Yeah.
and
My
exactly.
misery is funny. I love talking about how all the things have gone wrong at my expense.
so are we? Is it possible to like pick a day and a morning and it be consistent, because we have to like keep in mind everybody's schedule.
Yeah,
I am doing it again, but blast from the past. But like, Darcey, your schedule is like, is there one day that's always okay or not?
The schedule I have currently, I have 6 days off in a row every 2 weeks. Can you imagine what we could have done with that schedule in the day? Like I said, somebody who could actually manage their time could rule the world with 6 days off in every 2 weeks. Like, lucky I'm not that guy. I'm not into being a dictator or anything, but yes, like every other Friday sort of situation is doable, or some other alternate day. But I'm off right now, which means in 2 weeks I will have Friday off, and 2 weeks after that I will also have Friday off.
Okay. Well, I know that
It's like,
Mark and I can balance up, but what's the deal with you, Mike? Because
are we talking like the third? My last day of school is the 26th. So next Friday is my. So basically, anytime after next week. I mean, like, I have classes till the 25th, but basically, I'm a free bird come July.
So you'll be able to come to the schools on like Friday morning.
Oh, I will be able to do it from home.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we want to go with Darcey's schedule then, like
Sure.
every second Friday. So
July 3rd. Is that what you guys are thinking?
does that work, Darcey?
Yeah.
July 3rd.
Like I said, yeah.
And for us, it'll always have to be the 9 o'clock
Sure.
thing for you guys because of like
your 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Which is a little early for me, but I just had breakfast while I was sitting here. That's all.
Awesome.
Okay, we're all excited to see. Don't cut up everything, but
I won't.
it'll be interesting to see. Well, I feel like I definitely want to linger because I do not want to go back to this